Okay, I'm going to set a course or set up all the marks for the Newport Bermuda race as if I knew exactly what the sailing instructions are going to say. And so what I've gone and done here for now, the sailing instructions are not yet posted on the website. It says sailing instructions will be posted in early June. But what I can do is in anticipation of things being very similar. Well, I'm going to show you how to do this in anticipation of things being very similar. You should double check it yourself. So I've gone over to the 2016 document archives and I'm loading up the sailing instructions there. And I'm just going to say search for the word finish. And that popped me down here on the second occurrence, 2 out of 39 to the course. There's the course. And now we're going to go to work in Expedition. So over here to Expedition, what we've got is, well, we know we're starting in Newport, so let's go zoom in on Newport area here. I'm using the zoom in center tool, and I could also be using the plus key on the keyboard or hitting the magnifier plus. Now I'm getting frustrated. I'm going to hit the plus key. Okay, clicking to center, jumping all over the place, trying to get over here to Newport. Ah. All right, bear with me. Okay, zooming in a little more. All right, so what we're going to do here is I'm just going to pop the visual. I'm going to say Newport Bermuda base 2018. I'm going to say OK. I'm going to say set a mark, set another mark. I'm going to hit escape. I've got 2 marks drawn. I see I've got true on for some reason here on my screen, so I'm just going to go switch that back over to magnetic. I was doing some stuff in true before. All right. So let's go set our first mark here. Well, the starting line is not going to be identified in the sailing instructions. I'll set that the day of. But let's just say that we're going to go start up here off of Castle Hill, approximately there. And I can right click, edit mark, and call that prox start. I'm going to go ahead and lock that one mark now. And I'll leave that as a sail 2. Okay. So I'm going to say OK. Now, what's this second mark here? So sailing instructions, Red Bell 6 near Butterball Rock, and some coordinates leading that to port. So rather than going and looking around to see exactly what mark that's going to refer to, I'm just going to say edit mark 1. I'll go back over the sailing instructions. Ooh, can I actually copy and paste that? That would be sort of nice to just copy and paste that, wouldn't it? See if I can cheat a little and get that copied and pasted. Drop that into my comments there. Clean it up. Is that going to do it for me? Will that actually work? That would be sort of nice, right? Hey, that worked. Look at that. Rather than retyping it, you can see I'm pasting it in. We'll see how that one pastes in. We'll call that Red Bell 6. Red Bell 6 near Butterball Rock. I'm being precise in naming it exactly as it shows it in the sailing instructions. So in the heat of the battle, if there's any lack of clarity, when I look at the sailing instructions, I go back and look at the chart. It's an identical description. So there's not any question of ambiguity or concern. It says leave it to port. I can click leave it to port. Let's call it locked. Let's see where that goes to when I click OK. All right, it's not going anywhere. Did I wig out Expedition by typing this information in this way? I may have. Expedition's not liking something that I did. Let's go back to that edit mark. May have broke it. let's cancel that. And insert a mark. Well, see, everybody has their little problems here. Mark 0. Let's go back and do it the right way and not be lazy trying to paste stuff. So 4127.4. 41.7.40 there. All right. 7121. 7121.9. 7121.900. Giving it the same number of digits that it had. I'm going to say OK. And there we go. It's trying to hop over to this mark, isn't it? Right. It's trying to tell me that that's the mark. And it doesn't look to me like they had that too precise back in 2016. Red bell 6 near Butterball mark, approximately there, 2 port. All right, so we're going to put it on the mark. And I'm comfortable doing that because the mark was on the, I'm being conservative, so to speak, leaving that to port. All right, let's edit that mark. Red bell 6 near Butterball Rock. Red bell 6 near Butterball Rock. Leave mark to port. Locked. And we can say always draw. All right. Zoom out. Let's go to the next mark. Red gong 4 near Brent Reef, 2 port. All right, so we're gonna go, that's gonna be right there. We can see it right there, but let's go ahead and just not make any weird assumptions. Let's go to the mark. 4126.6. 6. 7121.8. 7121.8. Say OK. Yeah, maybe I'll point out to somebody that they had that other mark pretty far off, but this one is more on target. I'm going to go ahead and put that to the mark because presumably we're going to have visuals on the mark. And again, the mark here on this is to this side of where their coordinates were. I'm going to go with the CMAP info, and we are always looking to confirm an exact mark location. Anyways, edit mark. Red gong 4 near Brent Reef. Red gong 4 near Brenton Reef. Leave that to port. Always draw lock. We're going to go double check. Yes, says 2 port. We're good. Boom, check, done. Notice the label is in red. It's meaning leave it to port. Okay, and what do we have next? Red bell 2A near seal ledge. Right, well, first of all, let's go rename that for a second before we do something bad and mark. Let's call it mark. All right. Okay, so we're going to jump into the middle of this course, pointing at the middle of the course line. We're going to right click. We're going to say insert mark. New mark popped in. I'm going to say right click, edit mark. And we're going to go over here, red bell 2A near seal ledge, 4126. 4126. And we've got 7120.8. Right, locked, always draw. I think we're leaving that to port. We'll double check. Yep, we're leaving it to port. Red bell 2A near seal ledge. Red bell 2A near seal ledge. Leave to port. Okay. Aha. Right. We've got to leave that to port. All right. And that's probably not going to come into play. But unlock it. Put it on the mark. Go ahead and relock it. And then we've got North Rock Beacon. So all the way down to Bermuda, 3228.5. All right. So let's go ahead over to this mark and we'll take that one all the way down there. Edit mark. North Rock Beacon. Go. Okay, that's it. That's all we got is a description. We're going to go with 3228.5. 3228.5. This is basically the stuff to keep you from hitting stuff, right? This is not where you're supposed to go sail to. Everybody would know that, I would think. 6446.1. 6446.1. Locked. I'll always draw. Actually, let's leave it unlocked for a second. We're going to leave that to starboard. North Rock Beacon to starboard. Yes. Okay. Now it went to it. It doesn't take the chart doesn't sort of auto zoom its way down there. So you got to go on down and figure that out. Trying to get it to zoom in for us here. It's a plus key. And you can see they're saying, hey guys, don't actually hit the reef. You got to leave Bermuda to starboard. Right? That's pretty precise. Okay, now what we're going to see is we're going to have northeast breaker beacon, right? Yep. All right, so see, I put that mark there. So how do well, I could go here to the middle of this. There's a reason I was keeping one floating out on the end, right? Because now I'm going to put the mark in the middle of it, and it's going to be a little bit weird. I'll show you how to fix that. Edit that mark. That is northeast breaker beacon. Northeast breaker beacon. 3228.7. 3228.7. 6441. 6441. All right. And that's to starboard. Yep. Leave it to starboard. Always draw. Lock it. Okay. And did we ever lock that one? Let's right click on that. Lock North Rock Beacon. Okay, so see how the marks are out of order there? We'll head over here to edit marks and I can take northeast breaker beacon and I can just move it down in the order. And you'll see it says, hey, you're coming in. You can leave this thing to starboard, over here. And let's note that you can't sail between these two marks. That's a 6-foot spot. There's some other bad stuff that can happen to you around northeast breaker, right? This is not to say you can go sailing between these marks, nor should you. These are just the marks of the course. It's basically trying to say don't hit the bricks and leave Bermuda to starboard and don't think you can slide through across the reef if you're shallow trapped or something strange. Okay. And then we have kitchen shoals. And we're going to jump in the middle, insert mark, right click on it, edit mark. We're going to say kitchen shoals beacon. We're going to say kitchen shoals beacon. And then we're going to say, we're going to leave that to starboard, and then we're going to get in here on this latitude longitude stuff, and that is 3226.1, 3226.1. 1, 6437.6, 6437.6. Right, stuff takes time, as you can see. And we got kitchen shoals there, right? We got the funky order. Take kitchen shoals, move it down one to the bottom, and there you go. All right, and we could zoom in on that a little bit and see how close that point is on kitchen shoals. Yeah, it's a little off. I mean, you can't really, you don't want to sail too close to it. Obviously, as you see, there may not be enough water depending upon your boat. But for Warrior 1, sure, be careful. Make sure you zoom in and you know what you're looking at. All right, we're going to go ahead and lock kitchen shoals. And jump over here to the middle, right click, insert mark, back to the mark, right click, edit mark, up to here. And we've got one last thing to honor, Mills Breaker Buoy. Breaker Buoy. And that is at 3223.9. 3223.9. We'll see if it's still there for this year after some of the storms and stuff. You have to check the 2018 sailing instructions. This is 2016. I'm building this off of again. 6436.9. 6436.9. Always draw. Go ahead, we'll call it locked. Leave it to starboard. All right, edit marks. We're going to move it down. Down, okay. And that looks to be pretty. Let's see what CMAP has. CMAP's got a slightly different location. Slightly. You can zoom way in and say, all right, well, how far off are those coordinates? 0.06 nautical miles. You want to know what 0.06 nautical miles is. Well, basically 0.01 is 60 feet, right? How do we know this? Google is a nice little thing. You don't necessarily have this on board the boat. Go over to Google and say convert point. Oh, look at that. I just did one. So for every 0.01, that's 60 feet. So if you're talking about 0.06, I mean, that's 365 feet. Yeah. So which is it? I would, you have to make that decision on your own. I'm going to go here, unlock, lock. I'm going to move this over here. Okay, sorry, I had a brief interruption there. So we got the Mills Breaker Buoy. Right now, let's see. So from Mills Breaker Buoy, you've got to leave that to starboard. There's a sea buoy here that everybody's always saying, oh my gosh, we have to honor this sea buoy. Well, in 2016, you did not have to, right? It's not on that sailing instruction. It's not there. But read it closely this time around. All right, so let's go. Let's insert a mark. Insert a mark. And I'm going to drag that down to my finish here. And I'm going to call that edit mark. Products. Finish. Sail 2. Always raw. Okay. Edit marks. Boom. Move it down. Okay. Now let's zoom in here. All right. So these are the two ends of the line that I've plotted based upon my knowledge of what is going to be the coordinates. And you can do something like this, where you you put yourself to the line or put yourself to the middle of the line. Oops. So I have plotted the entire course. Now, note obviously that's not the fastest way necessarily to sail into Bermuda. Normally, you might want to be sailing right into Lake Kitchen Shoals. Depends all upon the breeze direction and a whole bunch of other factors. Let's just go take a look in on the starting stuff here for a second. Right. Okay, so these marks are all set up with, leave to port, leave to starboard. It is worth taking a look here at so the depths around this flasher are not of any concern. In fact, CMAP, my reference depth 3 meters. Okay, not sure why that's got a blue outline on it, but there is nothing to worry about with that bell out there. That's for the ships that may have a shallower draft. Zoom out here for a second. Let's do note the racing rules of sailing. This is a real annoyance for me that there is an inbound lane of traffic and an outbound lane of traffic. See this thing here? This is called a TSS. This shaded box stuff. Try not to jump around like that. Sorry. Ah, my goodness. Okay. It's going to jump again in a second. All right. Technically, you'll see what I just did. I went to sail. I went to the sail notes new. I'm going to the corner of that box. That is the inbound lane of the TSS. I'm clicking once, moving the cursor, then clicking. There we go. And then when I'm done, I'm going to hit escape. All right, that race note that I've just entered there, you are technically not allowed to sail in the opposite direction in that. And so that's the inbound lane. A ship would be coming in that. You're not allowed to be going out that. That's Coal Rigs Rule 10, which is in the racing rules of sailing. Read the sailing instructions and the NOR about how you could or could not get protested for sailing south in that northbound inbound lane. Becomes a little bit of an issue here. Likewise, you technically could not sail south in this inbound lane. You can cross it, and you have to read coal rigs yourself to make your own interpretation there. The same opacity, one less. Okay, there we go. And those are technically okay. So this is just the whole process of laying out, the Newport Bermuda race course. What I generally am going to go to do is I am going to go to marks here. Okay, that course is the technical course for the exact marks that you have to honor. What I'm going to do is I'm going to generally make a new, click on that once till you get a cursor, and simple NPR 2018. Okay, well, what is simple? What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say basically The last, let's go to Red Bell, Red Gong. We go Red Gong 6 to say Kitchen Shoals, and make that active. Okay. So now what that is, let's just go to zoom in on that. That's basically to say, let's look at a simple run line course. And then we can plot, weather and other stuff off of that and do our isochronous routing. So 629.2 miles, bearing 162 magnetic. All right. And so what are we going to do here? We can go sail, polars. I don't have the right ones loaded right now. Yeah, load. I'll have to come back to that. But let's say that I have the right polars loaded. I have a simple J20 120 polars loaded right now. What do we do next? Well, we're going to want to go ahead and plot an optimal course. But first, on the plotting of this thing, let's go take a look at something I want to point out about the finish. This was one of my original objectives for why I laid out this course for you here, and it is go back over to marks, edit marks. I'm going to make the real deal be active, set active. And here's what we want to avoid. Coming into the finish here, if you finish here and you bear off or you turn this way, first of all, which I think may even be disallowed by rule, but if you're all happy and you keep sailing for a half a mile up this way, you are going to hit the reef. All right, it's a half a mile. If you keep sailing, and if you're coming in on a southerly breeze, you don't have much time at all before you need to head back around out to sea, head over this way, and then back down to go to shoot through the narrows there to get around the end of the island. Don't make the mistake of hitting the reef, not wreath, reef. Right? It's happened. People do it. Don't do it. Don't be the one. All right, I'll do some optimal course and other stuff in another video, I guess.